Feeling like you're barely making ends meet is common right now. Here's what I would do today to get rich if I started in 2024. I'll be giving you a simple step-by-step guide on how to get rich starting in 2024. And I'm talking really rich, the type of rich where you never have to worry about working a 9 to 5 again. Starting with the right career that doesn't require formal education, to proper budgeting, to investing, all the way up until you're the top 1% income and net worth. We're going to start from the baseline, assuming you live with your parents and have no money saved up yet. I'm going to show you how to go from zero to millionaire with easy to follow steps, no formal education, or any crazy investing formulas that you need an MBA to understand. All I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button. That would be greatly appreciated. First, you need a job that makes 6 figures. And I know this might already sound crazy, but there are a lot of jobs that actually require no formal education or prior experience and will pay you 6 figures. Some are sales and performance based, and others simply pay a salary of 6 figures. You would also be able to start your own business. However, for this blueprint, the easiest route will be to have a salary without the added headache of costs for startup and coming up with a new business idea. In my last video, I went over 4 great millionaire maker careers that don't require that formal education. One of my favorites from that list was a property manager. Property manager on average makes $133,871 a year. And this generally does progressively increase with the experience in the actual position. If you're not into real estate or just don't want to manage tenants, then check out that video for some other options. But for this one, we're going to start with that property manager position, making $133,871. That at a 24% tax rate would result in a take-home pay of about $101,425. Now, this is decent, but at this rate, you would need to continue living with your parents and saving up all your money for about 10 years to become a millionaire. That's unreasonable, so for this path, we'll consider budgeting 30% of your income for needs, 20% for wants, and 30% for savings, and then another 20% for investing. At this rate, you'd have about $2,535 a month to spend on necessities, $1,690 a month for wants, $2,535 for savings, and then $1,690 for investing. If you want to be more aggressive and take a chance at making more money faster, then you could simply shift money from your wants into the investing column. Or if you're feeling the hurt of the current inflation and simply need more money for necessities, then you could also shift some of that money over there as well. But be sure to consider what is truly a necessity. Can you live without it? Does it make you money? Is it a write-off? These are a few things to consider before spending more money on those necessities. In your savings, we are going to focus on getting 5 months of living expenses set aside first. Then we're to take on a slightly more aggressive approach with that savings for the remainder of the time. So assuming we have a monthly spend of about $3,000 a month between needs and wants to survive and maintain your current standard of living, then we would need to save $15,000 to have 5 months of living expenses put aside. Currently, we would save $2,535 a month, so this will take about 6 months to have this money set aside. I personally use the American Express high yield savings account, but you can use whatever one you like. This will grow on its own while you focus on making additional money. Now that we have 5 months of living expenses set aside for an emergency fund, you can take on a little more of an aggressive approach on the remainder of that savings. So you don't have to keep on stacking away the money. Now, instead of putting the money into savings, we're going to invest it. So you have more money going into investment. Now, with those 5 months set aside, you can stop the additional contributions to savings. We're now going to use what would normally go into the savings, and we're going to shift it to the investment column. So with this approach, you now have $4,225 that you are able to contribute to investments. And I want to be clear, none of this is personalized advice. I am not licensed to give financial advice. This is simply what I would do if I was to start from scratch in 2024. This is an aggressive tactic and what I personally presently do. The S&P 500 tracks the performance of the largest 500 companies in the world. What I mean by dollar cost averaging is that you buy whenever you have the available money. You don't buy based on price. The price could be up that day or it could be down. It doesn't matter. matter. You're buying regardless. Now, what this does is it takes the strategy out of it, if you will, and it averages out over time, hence the name dollar cost averaging. Now, reinvesting dividends can sound challenging, but all you really have to do is simply call Fidelity, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, or whoever you may use to invest these funds into the S&P 500 and just have them reinvest them for you. Just say, listen, I want to reinvest the dividends for this given stock, whether it's FXAIX, that's the name of the ticker for the S&P 500 for Fidelity specifically, or whatever it may be for Vanguard, Charles Schwab, or whatever. Or you could also look at your actual position on the website and select reinvest dividends. That's another option as well. But with this approach, you'll be a millionaire in 10.5 years. This isn't changing your living standard or anything like that. You will no longer be living in your parents' house, and instead you'll be able to spend that $2,500 on rent, food, utilities, whatever it may be, and live on your own. Now you can do this math on a compound interest calculator. You're starting with $0, investing $50,700 a year. The S&P 500 yields on average 10.5% per year. And at this rate, it would take 10.6 years to hit that net worth, $1,003,963.96. Now, it's important to note this is obviously on average. There are up years and down years, but this is what it averages out to over time. So what I do is buy for that month and don't look at it until the next month when you go to buy more at whatever the price may be at that point in time. It's very easy to, when you make this initial investment, get caught up in it and think, oh, I'm gaining or losing money. You can't think of it that way. You have to set this money aside, do it over the next 10 years, and then look at it that 10-year period. Don't let your emotions get in the way and all of a sudden see it's down after you just invested in it and then think, oh, I just lost $1,000, whatever it may be, and then pull your money out, because that realizes your losses. When it's staying where it is, it still has room to fluctuate and move with the market. And like I said, over time, it does average up. So take the emotions out of it. Just every single month, buy, and then look at it 10 years from now, and you can then make a decision at that point in time. I want to emphasize once again that this is challenging. What people will do is they'll invest this money and then they'll look at it every single day to see what their money's doing, and they'll let their emotions get wrapped up in it. You can't do this. You don't need the money now, so leave it alone and ignore it. Focus on increasing your income so you can invest more. Don't worry about, like I said, what it's doing at this point in time. At the beginning of this video, I said I would show you how to make more money than you know what to do with, so you don't ever have to work a 9-to-5 again. Now, that number can obviously vary for a lot of people. Maybe it's $5 million for you. Well, at this rate, you would need to simply do 2 things every month for 25 years. Don't spend too much and hit buy on your finance app every single month. I want you to think about that. You shift that Fidelity money to Amex savings, and that mere $2,170,999 at 4.5%, the Amex savings rate, would give you an income of $97,694 a year, which is just sitting there. You personally have nothing you need to do to earn that money. It is fully passive. When you're dealing with this much money, you do have to get a little bit creative just to make sure that you have the maximum amount of safety with all this money that you've been working very hard to save up and generate for yourself over the last 30 years. Wealthfront has figured that out, offer a platform where it seamlessly spreads your money across multiple banks to make sure your money is fully FDIC insured up to $8 million. So this might be something to consider when you get up to this wealth level. Once again, none of this was personalized financial advice, as I am not licensed to give any advice of any kind. This is what I've done personally and what has worked best for me regarding budgeting, saving, investing, working. So if you want personalized advice, please seek out a local financial advisor.